Have you ever bought a toy for your kid that they absolutely begged for, only to see it sitting in the corner a week later, a month later? You know what regret feels like. Home buyers in Toronto experience the same thing. They fall in love with the idea of a place, they make it theirs, and then once the dust is settled, the reality isn't exactly what they thought it would be. The only difference, a toy might cost $40 and a house could cost you $1 million or more. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 biggest regrets Toronto homebuyers have after purchasing, so you don't end up feeling stuck with a very expensive version of that toy in the corner. So the first regret that I see people having after the fact is they essentially feel house poor. And that comes from not paying enough attention to the total cost of ownership, primarily maintenance and repairs, replacements. So in a different video when I talked about mistakes, I discussed how I felt people who thought condo maintenance fees were a waste of money was a mistake. With houses, I mentioned that you absolutely should be saving for and ready to save for replacing kind of big ticket items and repairing big ticket items as well. The roof, some of your plumbing, your electrical, all the kind of mechanics and systems that come with it. There's also land transfer tax, and there's kind of just little ongoing maintenance, like you gotta buy a lawnmower if you bought a house with a yard, and every once in a while you have to buy grass seed, and you gotta buy a new snow shovel. These are little things, but they add up, and the total cost of home ownership has been a big strain on people who didn't factor that in. So I'm gonna encourage you, if you're looking to kind of start your home ownership journey, to really think about your budget and how much money you have left over, factoring in your salary, all that kind of stuff, just to make sure that your cash flow isn't hurting at the end of the day after you've bought a place. Now, to piggyback off of that regret, another regret that I hear about a lot is people choosing to buy a fixer-upper. So they think that saving on price and then being able to fix it up over time is the right way to go, and it's a smart decision. And for some, that it is, but for other people, it has been a big regret. And it's not just about the money, it's the time, it's the constant decision making, it's the labor if you're doing it yourself. People love looking at homes that have charm. Okay, I'll use that word charm, which often means a lot of like original fixtures, original features, that kind of stuff. And I have found over time, a lot of those homes end up being kind of money pits. So you want to be very mindful, I think, of buying a fixer-upper and whether it is truly right for you. It will probably end up being a kind of stream of never-ending projects. And if you think you can handle it, money-wise, time-wise, great. But there's a chance it might not be for you. You want to consider that. Regret number 3 that I hear fairly frequently is people feeling like they didn't buy enough house or enough condo. What that means is kind of not enough space, not a big enough place. There's this interesting dilemma, I guess, if you will, with people kind of being mindful of their budget, but then not going kind of far enough and getting almost a transitional place. The cynic in you might be sitting there saying, of course the realtor is going to say for you to spend more money. But hear me out. If you buy a big enough place that you can stay in longer, you're actually reducing the number of transactions that you'll actually have to do. You know, not to be too assumptive that I would help people buy a place and then sell that place and help them buy the next place, but it does happen. And so what I'm actually encouraging people to do is to think long and hard about whether they could just buy one place instead of going through 3 transactions, because that transitional place, you have selling costs, and then you'll have land transfer tax and closing costs and all that kind of stuff on that next move-up purchase as well. There's a lot of costs that go into moving a second time. You may want to consider being able to kind of stretch that budget to live at a house that either is bigger than you think that you need or more nicely finished than you think that you need, so that you can stay in it much longer. So regret number 4. Some of the things that I've talked about already are about buying the right house, but there's another really big factor that comes with purchasing, and it's buying in the right location. So you can buy the right house in the wrong location, or the wrong house in the right location. So buying in the wrong location absolutely has been a regret for a lot of people. I talked about it as a mistake in that mistakes video that I made about people not doing enough homework to make sure that it's the right location for them. Location is unchangeable unless you move again. How is your commute? What are the nearby amenities that are not important to you? What's the school district? And does school district matter? If you have budget issues, then what I have found is that people who, they're not able to afford the right type of house in the location that they want. And so the sacrifice that they have to make is changing the location instead of getting maybe a worse off house in the right location. When people have budget issues, what they end up sacrificing commonly is the location. So they'll buy the house that they want in the location that isn't necessarily ideal for them. And so they end up buying in a location that they think will become the location that they actually wanted to buy in, that kind of up and coming area or whatever the case is. But the problem is that, what I've found, and I think everybody can probably agree, is that gentrification happens very slowly. It can happen quickly in certain kind of pockets or to a certain degree, but overall, a neighborhood really kind of undergoing a lot of change does not happen quickly. And if people have bought maybe the right house but in the wrong location and they feel like they need to change, then it's probably like a 5-ish year kind of timeline where they're going to feel that they need to move in houses. Gentrification doesn't really happen in 5 years. That's something that you'll want to very strongly consider, is making sure that you're buying in the right location, because that's something that you can't easily change. This last regret that I have heard and have read about is a little bit of a catch-22, or maybe an enigma. It depends on how you want to describe it, but it's buying a condo or buying a house. Now, this would be prevalent for people who have the ability to afford either one. So it's either like a really good condo or maybe a not very nice house. The idea is that, you could buy like an $850,000 kind of 2-bed, 2-bath condo with parking in a good location or whatever the case is, or they buy that kind of fixer-upper house or smaller bungalow in a location that's not ideal for them, whatever the case is. So I have heard it go both ways. I've heard people who bought the condo regret not buying the house because they can stay in the house longer, they have more control over what they can do with the property, they can expand, they can, change it to their tastes, whatever the case is. I've also heard people who have bought a house and they have underestimated the responsibility of being a homeowner and all the different things that kind of come with it, the cost, the maintenance, the care that it requires, that you either need to do yourself or hire somebody to do, and they wish that they had bought a condo. What is very important is that when you're looking to buy, you need to very strongly consider your lifestyle that you want to have and your investment goals. Condos aren't probably going to appreciate nearly as much as houses. Houses are going to appreciate much, much better. But do you get the lifestyle that you want by being a homeowner versus being a condo owner? Those are things that you're going to have to ask yourself and have a real conversation with you and your partner if you're buying with, to make sure that you are doing the right thing for you. Buying a home, condo or house doesn't have to come with regrets. And if you want to avoid these regrets, we can put together a buying strategy that fits your budget, your lifestyle, and your future plans. So you can book a no pressure call using the link below in the description. And if you've already bought in Toronto, I would love to hear in the comments, what is your biggest home buying regret? See you on the next one.